What's going on today, everybody? Today I have a list of 10 modifications that I feel ruin the overall feel for a daily driven vehicle, and this goes for any daily driven vehicle. And when I think of a daily driver, I think that a car should be comfortable, reliable, safe, overall utility, being able to use it just for about anything you need it for because it's your daily driven vehicle. And these modifications are just my opinion. If you disagree with me, I understand that completely. This is just some things that I thought about from different points of view and try to throw a little list together here for everybody. So we'll just get right into number one. So number one on the list, overly dark tinted windows. And I'm talking about the 0 to 5% tint, the blacked out limo tint. Looks really cool, but if you can't see out of it, how you supposed to drive it? And like I say, we want our daily to be safe. So when it comes to your tinted windows, like I said, the 0 to 5%, it's a definite no-go. Leading into number two from the tinting aspect of things is do not do a full tint job on your headlights and taillights because there's already enough crazy drivers out there you have to dodge. So why make yourself harder to see? Again, it's a safety aspect, and that's definitely not a good thing for a daily. Number three on the list is completely stiffened engine motor mount. The completely stiff engine motor mount setups they're really nice, they're fun, motorsport feel. Are they daily friendly? Definitely not. If you want your teeth to rattle on a daily basis, highly suggested not to do that, especially in your daily driver, because you feel every vibration that engine produces. And if you have a really long commute and sit in traffic all day, probably not something you want to have to deal with. Number four on the list, excessively loud, drony exhaust. And when I'm saying excessively loud, drony, I'm talking like full on straight pipe, no mufflers, anything like that. Something you just got to think about. If you're sitting in traffic for an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, driving long distance on the interstate, that constant drone will just wear on you, make you have a headache, and nobody really wants that, especially in your daily. So if I'm going to modify my exhaust for a daily, I'm going to look for something with a good mellow tone to it. You know it's there. When you go to pull out, you know that you have an exhaust. People still hear you. It's just not as in your face, loud, obnoxious. Number five on the list, I'm going to go with insanely harsh suspension modifications. And when I mean insanely harsh suspension modifications, some people will take their stock suspension off their daily and put coilovers on there that have like 12K springs on it, and it's just insanely stiff for the street. When you're on the street, you've got a daily driver, obviously you're going to value comfort more than anything. So in that regard, I wouldn't even touch the suspension for modifications. I would just leave the OE equipment on there because chances are that's going to be your most comfortable option for the daily. And number six, just kind of rolling along with the suspension theme, is larger wheels with smaller profile tires. Again, we're looking for ride quality and comfort in our daily. And if we increase the diameter of our wheel and decrease the sidewall of the tire, most of the time, comfort kind of goes out the door. And if you hit a pothole or anything rough road, you feel it. In any which way, I would say go with the OEM setup or downsize a little bit, get a little more sidewall height for increased comfort and rideability. Number seven on the list are track or race brake pads. It takes heat to make race and track pads work halfway decent, and when you're on the street, chances are you just can't generate the heat needed to make them work as they should. Sometimes when they're cold, you'll go to step on the brake and not have anything, so then it becomes a safety issue. And on top of that, if you do get them to work halfway decent for the street, they tend to make a lot of noise. So again, it's more of a safety issue and annoyance. You got to deal with all the noise and stuff. Number eight on the list, we're going to go with sub 200 tread wear tires, and we're talking about the ones that, they're DOT legal and for street use they're street legal, but everybody kind of knows that they're sub 200. That's basically a race tire, track tire of some sort, autocross, etc. And you don't really have a good use for that on the street. They've got grooves cut in them, but I wouldn't say they're the best in the rain and stuff like that. Can't really get them warm, your grip suffers. Then it becomes a safety issue, yada yada. But just a good all-season tire, because you want longevity out of your tires. You want them to last. 400 tread wear or so would be optimal for daily use, and you get good life out of it. good ride out of it, and ultimately that's what you're really looking for in a daily.
Number 9 on the list, a stiff racing clutch. You know, in a daily driver, it's just not needed. The stiffness of it, and combined with having to sit in traffic and, you know, all that, you'd better by God hit leg day 4 days a week, or you're just going to be wore flat out by the end of the week. On top of that, they can be really finicky with their engagement points and chatter and everything else. And again, like I say, it's just not something that you truly need in a daily driven vehicle.
And number 10 on the list, I'm gonna say don't go hunting for big power modifications on your daily driver. Probably really want that warranty, and if you go down that road, you're gonna forfeit the warranty straight up. The further you get away from OEM, the less reliable it becomes. And I'm not saying you can't daily drive a 1,000 horsepower car, you probably can, but who's to say how long it'll last? So typically the closer you can keep it to stock with the modifications, the better reliability you'll have out of the vehicle. So that's my list for 10 modifications that I feel ruin the overall daily driver aspect of a daily driver. And you know, so let's say it's not all inclusive, just some things I threw together. Hopefully it'll help some people, you know, along the way. And if you found the video helpful, please leave a like. We'll catch you in the next one.